Hoops weekly recap show. I'll be joined momentarily by our panel of experts as soon as we're done thanking those responsible for bringing you tonight's show. They are our Lingelstown Gazette Sports Platinum sponsors, Capital Region Insurance Agency, Payer Apparel, Team PA, AAU Basketball, Ted's Bar and Grill, Tire Mart, Robert Hoke, Post 272 Legion, Crystal Bob at Iron Valley Real Estate, Hoffman Ford, Tonino's Pizza, and Sam Hartley Decking. Thank you, as always, to these great local businesses for their continued support of Lingelstown Gazette Sports and our area's student athletes. Upcoming, we have a couple kind of one-offs, some shows that we just kind of threw in there because we felt the need to. And there's actually 3 of them. And tomorrow night, here's a good one. We have I think we're calling it our mid-season girls basketball update show, something along those lines. But we're going to talk about all things Mid-Penn Conference and then touch on the District 3 power rankings and the upcoming District 3 tournaments, talk about who's, maybe going to win these divisions and qualify for the Mid-Penn Conference tournament. And so there's a lot of great girls basketball in Central PA, specifically South Central Pennsylvania, and we're really excited. We have Eric Epler joining us, and he is the Penn Live Patriot News girls basketball guru. He knows as much as anybody, I'd say, in the state about girls basketball in South Central Pennsylvania. So we're excited for that show. And then let's look at our upcoming, and I want to mention, I guess I should mention it right away, that our coach guest tonight, Rick Perez, is not going to be joining us. He ended up going to the Philadelphia Eagles game, the postseason, the playoff game, and he's there now. So I kind of think that's a little more important than our show. So hopefully Coach Perez is having fun down there at the game. And then we'll put him in hopefully at the tail end of these next 3 guests. We have John Allen from Coatesville. Dave, you know John Allen.
Yep, coming off a tough loss last night.
And I just
Plymouth White Marsh in a battle of 2 of the top 6A teams, District 1, 6A, and they'll meet again probably.
That I just talked to Kerry Glover from York High, York William Penn yesterday. They had a big win over Central Dauphin East, who's been hot, and he's coming on in 2 weeks. And then Jason Fisher from Devon Prep. Dave, I think they've won 3 of the last 4 state championships, 2 in 3A, and then last year in 4A. One of the best coaches in the state, easily. So, yeah. And I've liked him. I've been a fan of his. Ever since the first, I just like the way. Sometimes I just like the way people coach and the way they handle their guys. And what a thrill to have him on. So we do like to get outside of the Mid-Penn and District 3 sometimes, and we're doing it here for sure. So
yeah, they're a little down this year. They're battling tough, but they lost so much. They're top 6 guys. So
I think they'll be okay.
It's going to be tough in this game. I don't know how many more Father Judge coming. 2 and 9.
Man, you can't do it every year, So, but we'll ask Coach Fisher about his team.
Lansdale Catholic, Archbishop Carroll, Conwell. The whole Catholic League is loaded again. MOTEP. I said they were a Division I college team. They lost to Fells, who's a 6A public league school.
Wow.
They had to go overtime today, engineering and sciences. MOTEP won in overtime today. So maybe just mid-season, it's hard to get fired up for every game, and everybody's coming at you.
Absolutely. So we like to mention that we use a lot of photographs taken by Penn Live photographers, professional photographers, really good work. And we just want to thank them. A lot of these photos are compliments of the Penn Live photography staff. So we also like to mention this too, and I don't know if I'm going to stop this or not, but I just feel the need to. Prostate cancer awareness. I'm recovering from prostate surgery, and I just want to try to encourage all of the guys out there and the women and children who might be watching. If there's a man that you love who's in their 40s or 50s or beyond, please implore them to get checked. 1 of 7 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in his lifetime. It's a very simple test to get started, a PSA testing, just blood work. And I also want to mention this. When should men get screened for prostate cancer? Average risk, if you're a white male without any family background, any family history of prostate cancer, 50 years old. Higher risk African American men or men with a family history that are that they ask that you get checked earlier in your mid 40s, and then very high risk. And I from all the reading I've done, African Americans are almost twice as likely to develop prostate cancer, and then almost 2.5 times more likely to die of it. So it is recommended they are initially tested between the ages of 40 and 45. So thank you for enduring that, those who are watching, and I just think it's very important that we address that. So anyway, once again, Rick Perez not joining us tonight at the Eagles game, and we hope he's having a blast. So let's start with this, guys. Outside the lines is what we call it, and this is something that doesn't have anything directly to do with any games this past week or anything like that. But how are the first-year Mid-Penn Conference coaches doing? We mentioned at the top of the season, the first show that we have, I think there's only 4. That's incredible. There's like close to 30 Mid-Penn Conference programs. So Central Dolphins' Seth Leonard took the place of Wayne Fletcher. I think Fletcher was there at CD for 6 or 7 years, something like that. It was actually more than I thought. And Central Dolphin is out of the gate playing pretty good ball. They just had a big win Friday night, and
9-3,
9-4 overall, 9-3 in PIAA games, and 6-1 in the Commonwealth Division. So we'll get to them later. And no new coaches in the Keystone. The Capital Division, Bishop McDevitt, Jim Rao came out of retirement.
Just had him on the show last week.
Just our guest last week, took the place of Jason Grace, who served for 2 seasons there. And McDevitt is, what are they, 11-0?
11-0.
11-0, playing really well. And they have good players. They have good players and a really good coach. And so great job for Coach Rao. And how about we move to the Capital, or stay in the Capital Division? Steel High, Jeremy Buzz Cable came in with no varsity head coaching experience, took the place of Rashad Macon, and they're kind of where I would have figured they'd be. Steel High, they're 3rd in the division, tied for 3rd with Susquehanna Township at 4-3 and 6-6 overall. So we're going to talk about them. They're in 2A, and they're going to have to go on. They're going to have to win some games, I think, just to qualify for district. So we'll get to that. And then in the Colonial Division, Northern York, Coach Ty Sabercool took the place of Steve Loudenslager, who was there for 7 years. He's at Northern York. Most recently, Coach Sabercool was at Cedar Cliff and had a very successful run there at Cedar Cliff. So and how are Northern York doing? I'm sorry. They are currently 5-2 in the division, tied with East Pennsboro for 2nd and 8-4 overall. So guess what? The new coaches are doing pretty darn well in the Mid-Penn, the new Mid-Penn coaches. We'll go down some scores. You guys can stop me, interrupt me anytime you want. We're going to go Monday through Saturday. These are just some scores that I wrote down because they had some kind of impact on some division races or maybe some really kind of cool non-league matchups. Hershey beat Cedar Cliff 64-47 on Monday. The reason I mention that is because they were kind of like, I don't know if I want to say 1 and 1A, but they were the 2 kind of front runners in the Keystone, and there wasn't much of a game, 17-point outcome there. Northern York, I thought, had a big win over New Oxford Monday night. They beat New Oxford 57-44, and New Oxford came into the game at 9-1. So, nice W for Coach Sabercool and his guys. And he said it was a good win. I talked to him, and he's like, yeah, my guys really executed and played well, played hard. On Tuesday, Cumberland Valley by 12 over State College. State College, a pretty good team. Yeah, Dave, you're nodding. You watched them play the other night.
Yeah, I was all over the place with video, and just I know that they're getting ready for the. You know what? Altoona beating Harrisburg. Altoona may, if they want to, qualify for the District 6 state tournament.
I don't know.
And whoever gets the top, there's 3 teams: Altoona, Mifflin County, State College. So State College and Mifflin County battling for that top spot. The team with the wins the in the District 6 regular season championship, if you want to call it, standings will get a bye. So in Mifflin County I don't think they have the schedule as tough as State College. So I was very impressed with State College the other night, but it's going to be really, really tough the rest of the year. And, and I'm looking forward to eventually, I'm hoping it's going to be State College, Mifflin County in the District 6
I would think so.
It should be, yeah. But
I think Mifflin County's better than Altoona, Dave. I do. I mean, I don't know, but I think they are.
Well, one thing about Mifflin County, one of the best shooting teams I've ever seen, but the teams that have found success against them, holding them into the 50s and not giving up over 80 points, you got to play defense on these guys, man. You got to be in their grill. And if you give them an opening, so I did review one of the teams Mifflin County played. I sent you the tape Midwest and Central Mountain. And you really can't be playing. If you're a 6A school, you can't be playing a team like Midwest. So hopefully that'll change.
You shouldn't be, unless the coaches have a relationship and they want that's different. But yeah, so
an agreement they had, a contract. But anyway, I'm looking forward to State College, Mifflin County, Altoona. Very impressed with that win. So District 6 is better than we thought.
District 6, they're not going to go away. Cumberland Valley, Dave Vespignani, really good coach. Lost one of his top players to a transfer, but they're good, so they beat State College by 12, Chambersburg over East by 15, McDevitt beat Susquehanna Township by 14. I think that knocked Susquehanna Township out of the Capital Division race. And Harrisburg struggled with Carlisle, man. That kind of surprised me. Carlisle entered the game 2-9, and Harrisburg beat them by a point. They were down double digits in the second half. I watched this game. Anybody else watch Central York and Reading?
Yes.
Man. Oh my gosh. Those teams were athletic, man. They were going hard. 85-76 in overtime. And we were going to obviously talk to Coach Perez about that game. I watched him, when late in the game, I think Coach Perez probably realized they were going to lose. It was kind of getting out of hand a little bit. He had a smile on his face. He was having fun on the sideline. He looked like he was glad to be back. He always knows. Coach Rick Perez knows that it's a marathon, not a sprint. And it's not time that they need to be playing their best basketball. But Central York's really good, and Central York's losing one of their best players. They're Brooklyn Nace. I'd call him a guard forward. He's the team's quarterback, or the school's quarterback. He's going off to Old Dominion. I think he's playing one more game against York High, William Penn, on Wednesday. And then he's going off to start college early. So West York over New Oxford, 10-1 versus 9-0. Let's see here. I don't need to mention all these games. There were some good ones over the weekend, though. Altoona beat Harrisburg by what, 16?
Yeah,
and
we were following that.
Harrisburg had two players out. Jayon Lewis, who's probably a top 5 player in the whole Commonwealth Division, was out, and then another player of impact. I don't know if it was a starter. I don't remember his name, but
were they injuries, Joe? Or
injuries? Out injured.
Yeah.
Returning. I found out that Lewis is just, I think it was his ankle, or I don't remember for sure, but he's just banged up. Basically.
Yeah, but that's not a good loss for Harrisburg, who was previously on a 7-0 run.
Yeah. I'd say knocked them out of the Commonwealth Division.
Yeah,
of the title race. And then East High, how about this one? Central Dauphin East over Cumberland Valley, and 44-40. This was Friday night. First East High win over CV in 6 seasons. After 11 straight losses. And how about this? Cumberland Valley had beaten East 16 of 17 times. So that's a huge win for East.
Yeah, there's been a couple of those sort of games that haven't, like Harrisburg beat CD for the first time in 8 years or something. So
breaking trends. They're breaking trends is what that is.
Right. Yeah. So it's good to see,
Absolutely.
Teams that haven't won in a while get that win. And
absolutely.
And for some reason, CD East was, I think, 7th in the power ranking last week, and now they're down to 11. So,
they were ahead of Central Dauphin last week.
Right. They were
by 1 or 2. So anyway, Central Dauphin over State College in overtime. I watched the second half of that, 55-51. And it is what it is. That's not State College is pretty good. The last thing I'm going to do is come on here and go, CD should have won by this much, and they shouldn't have got taken into overtime. And I watched the game, and I credit State College.
That sounds like a low-scoring game in overtime, Joe.
Absolutely, yeah. So
The Mechanicsburg beating up in Mifflin County, right?
Mm-hmm.
Winning up there. Big win.
57-54.
And then they beat up pretty good Mechanicsburg at home over the weekend by Milton Hershey, who looked very impressive the other night. So they should make some noise there. 5A also, I believe.
Yep. So let me just go through these Saturday games. McDevitt over Executive Education Charter by 24. York High over East High, 84-66. Milton Hershey over Mechanicsburg. Cumberland Valley beat Williamsport. Central York over Parkland by 5. So Parkland's got to be pretty good. That's a good sports school up there.
Yeah.
Trinity over Bishop Guilfoyle, 68-60. And how about this? York Catholic, a 2A school. Now, we know throw the classifications out the window when we're talking about the private schools. But York Catholic beat Cedar Cliff 67-51. 2A over 6A. So
why would they even, Joe? Why would Cedar Cliff even schedule that game? Was it a tournament?
That's an odd. No, I don't think that's kind of one of those. Maybe the coaches had a relationship or something. I don't know.
I mean, it can't do Cedar Cliff any good to even win that game against a 2A team.
That's a fair question. That's a good question, John.
So York Catholic, how are they doing this year?
Oh, they're 10-2.
All right. Well,
ranked second in the 2A power rankings.
Yeah, behind DeLone Catholic.
So let's talk about this. The Mid-Penn divisions go one at a time here, and we'll start with the Commonwealth division. And we've been kind of drawing lines under certain teams to say who we think's still in it and who's not still in it. And I would drop that, or I would raise that line up one now. Under State College, above Harrisburg. I don't think that a team with 4 losses is going to pass Central Dauphin with 1 loss or Cumberland Valley with 2 losses. And then we have 3 teams with 3 losses. I think Harrisburg's very athletic. I think they can put together a good game against good teams and maybe win. But I just don't think it's going to be their year for this Commonwealth division. Central Dauphin has a big game on Tuesday. They have Central Dauphin East at East on Tuesday night. Then they play Carlisle on Friday. CV has Carlisle, Chambersburg, and Abington. East High has Central Dauphin and Altoona. Chambersburg has Harrisburg and CV. I mean, the rubbers meet in the road for Chambersburg. That could be 2 tough games, Harrisburg and CV for Chambersburg. And then State College has Altoona, Harrisburg, and then Exeter Township on Saturday. So anybody you want to chime in? And I mean, do you think Harrisburg's probably out of it, John?
I mean, with that loss to Altoona, that pretty much sealed their fate. Hopefully they can win a bunch of games and still qualify for the state tournament. And
we certainly hope so.
For the districts, I'm sorry.
District. So Central Dauphin and East, that'll be a big game, though. It is a big game on Tuesday night.
And Cumberland Valley losing to
they lost to
City East. I mean that's had big implications also for both those 2 teams.
That really helped. And then CD beating State College gave State College that pinned their 3rd loss on them. So things worked out well for Central Dauphin on Friday night. How about the Keystone Division? Still a three horse race, I would say. I'm not counting. Hershey's playing really well. Obviously, they're 12-0. They're playing really well, and they're the defending state runners up in 5A. Beat Cedar Cliff handily, and so that's what we have there. Palmyra on down, or I would say more than likely out of it. I just can't imagine Hershey losing too many games. So
we got a big game coming up this Wednesday, Joe. Hershey and Milton Hershey on the 14th. So that could be the deciding factor or at least it's going to weigh heavily upon the Keystone Division title winner.
Yeah, Hershey has Lower Dauphin, Milton Hershey, and Mechanicsburg this week. Cedar Cliff has Palmyra and Lower Dauphin, and then Milton Hershey has Mifflin County, Hershey, and Palmyra. So
Milton Hershey, they can't look past Mifflin County. That's going to be a tough game up there in front of them. That's a long drive in Milton Hershey. So I mean, watch it. That could be that's a tough game right there.
Might run into some home cooking officiating.
Is it Camo Night? Camo Night.
No, Camo Night's over.
Okay.
I think
How about,
it's so isolated in Mifflin County. They have pretty much the same guys do the game. I mean, you understand,
right? Yeah,
It's
yeah,
but you guys down there, it's very diverse with the referees.
right.
So
Correct. So, how about the Capital Division? 2 teams left: McDevitt and Trinity. When they play again, which is later in January, pretty sure that's for the division title. You know, McDevitt wins, of course, they'll have a 2-game lead. If Trinity wins, it'll probably go down to power rankings. I don't see anybody else in this division. No, there's just not a chance anymore.
Yeah, so Steel High, Joe, like you mentioned, they're right now in the power rankings, they're ranked 4th, which is right on the edge of making it to districts. The top 4 teams in 2A go.
There's a caveat to that, and we're going to discuss it here in a few minutes. Once we get to the power rankings, John, we're going to talk about Steel High and their prospects for qualifying for districts.
And just to mention, Trinity obviously is very good this year in 3A, and they have a great chance to win 3A district title and make it a deep run into 3A state playoffs.
It's very interesting, John and Dave. Let me take this off. We don't need this up here. McDevitt lost one of their best athletes, Demir Arp, transferred to Harrisburg. McDevitt got a lot better. And I'm not saying because Arp left. I'm just there's a point to this. Reese Brown left Trinity for Harrisburg. Okay. Trinity's still very good. So we're talking about coaches that know how to roll with the punches. That's where I'm going with this. When you lose, that's why I said Cumberland Valley with Dave Vespignani lost one of their top players, one of the top players in the area. I'm not saying that they're going to win the division and go deep in districts and all that stuff, but you can't hold certain coaches down, and McDevitt and Trinity are proof to that you can lose like really key contributors and still have really good seasons.
Yeah, out of a lot of the mid-pen teams, Trinity and McDevitt definitely have some of the better chances to win district titles and make deep state playoff runs.
Absolutely, no doubt. And McDevitt, incidentally, is 4A. Trinity's 3A.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're gonna talk about that. That's one of the questions I was going to ask you guys. Who you think out of the mid-pen has a chance to win district championship? So, and then the last one that we haven't gotten to yet, the Colonial Division, and I still have 3 teams vying: Greencastle, Antrim, Northern York, and East Pennsboro. Greencastle must be good. Obviously, they're 7-0, so they can't be bad. But because Northern York and East Pennsboro, I think, are both pretty darn good. They both have talent and good coaches and some star players. And so, anyway, we'll keep an eye on that one. And let's see who Greencastle has: Middletown, Eastern York, and Northern York this week. So Greencastle, Northern York. I'll use the term again. The rubber will meet the road there for those 2 teams, or at least for Northern York. They're going to probably have to win that game. Then East Pennsboro has Shippensburg and Gettysburg. Northern York has Waynesboro, Greencastle, and Mechanicsburg.
The last time, Joe, Greencastle and Northern York played, it wasn't pretty. Greencastle won 62-38. So I'm assuming it's going to be a lot closer game this time around.
Yeah, let's hope so. And we try not to root, but we'd like to see competitive matchups. So let's go into this, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on that one, very little time, because we don't have any teams in our area. Most of our viewers aren't following these teams. That's 1A. And I kind of put this together here too. 1A, 10 of those teams will make it. We'll move to 2A. And here's what I wanted to talk about. You have Delone Catholic, York Catholic. They're going to be in. Okay, we know that. Linville Hill, in all likelihood, will be in. Steel High
they're still good.
Yeah. Steel High is you see that 0.4 or 0.04 ahead of Greenwood. But what's interesting there is, look at this. Take a look at this. Steel High, the schedule that they have to play these 4A teams, 3A, 4A, 5A. I don't know about any 5As, but it's so much more difficult. They have McDevitt, Big Springs good, Susquehanna Township, Trinity, Harrisburg. And then look at the right column. The right column is Greenwood, who's playing a bunch of small schools: Harrisburg Christian, Upper Dauphin, Newport, Halifax. So that's why I said to you, John, a few minutes ago. I said, it's worth noting that Steel High just has a much tougher run.
Yeah, you can't go by their record. I've seen them have a year where they're under 500 and still one of the top teams in 2A
Right.
because of the schedule that they play. I
Right,
mean, they're playing Harrisburg this year.
Yeah.
They play Trinity. They played Trinity twice. They played McDevitt twice.
Yes.
I mean, Susquehanna twice. I mean, that's tough for a 2A school. So they're holding their own, and that is sort of a healthy lead from 4th to 5th place there, Joe. So hopefully they can maintain that.
Yeah, I just think that on the nights that Greenwood, even though Greenwood would probably only beat like 1A or 2A teams, on a night that Greenwood gets a win and Steel High gets a loss, just in that short of a period of time, things change quickly. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
So let's go to 3A now. Trinity with a pretty darn big lead over Lancaster. That could be a good one. Dave, the Lancaster Mennonite.
Well, they beat Chester last week, and they slowed a great job, and they were not intimidated coming down here to the Chester's legendary gym. Trinity beat them up pretty good earlier this year, though.
Yeah. So that could be it. Could be at 20 points. Yeah. So let's people probably hate when I say this, but that district. 3A is Trinity's to lose. Okay, they should win districts again in 3A for sure. We'll move to 4A. Bishop McDevitt, 11-0. Berks Catholic. I anticipate those two teams meeting in the championship. I mean, look, guys, look at the gap between Berks Catholic and Susquehanna in the rating.
Yeah, it's not even close.
That's freaking huge. So
Bishop McDevitt has the second highest ranking in all of District 3, right behind Central York.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, so that tells you something. I mean, their power ranking rating number is higher than Hershey's.
Yeah. I'm not ready to crown McDevitt, because Berks Catholic obviously has athletes and a really great coach. But that'll be fun to watch. I would go down to Giant Center just to watch that game, and then we'll move to 5A. 5A is kind of tough, guys. I mean, look at Northern York down there. What did I say their record is? Northern York.
You said 8-4. It says 7-4 in here, I think.
7-4. I have 7-4 too. And right there on the fringe, they're at 15. And the point I'm making is that sometimes in football too, in 5A, good teams get left out in 5A in football, boys basketball.
So I don't know if we mentioned this, Joe. Sorry to interrupt you.
Right.
Going back to 4A, the top 8 teams in 4A are going to make it.
I didn't mention it. No, thank you.
And then now in 5A, the top 16 teams are going to make it. So obviously 5A and 6A are the largest classes in District 3 right now, because 6A also gets 16.
Hershey has a pretty healthy lead there. I would expect if Hershey stays healthy. I mean, they got a heck of a coach. They got a lot of pedigree. They got a lot of experience. It's just kind of they're in a good position.
Now Hershey and Milton Hershey still have to play 2 times more this year, so they haven't met yet.
Yeah, that's interesting. And they play some tough games.
Yeah, and Dave Berman, your buddy Gene Lambert from Octorara, having a heck of a year at 14-0.
Ties for the best, if you want to call it, start to a season. Only a 2015-16 team also started out 14-0 before suffering a defeat. And they got the Mannheim Central coming up. Always a tough game.
Not many undefeated teams left.
No, and Octorara used to be 4A, because I remember Bishop McDevitt used to play them a lot in district playoffs, and they moved up, I think, a couple years ago, maybe.
Yeah, they've had some nice runs over the years. Unfortunately, it was I think it was AAA. It was when there were 4 classes. They had to run in the Newman Goretti or Archbishop Carroll, and that's a tough mismatch. That's a tough match right there.
And then there's 6A. Central York, I think there's like 5 undefeated teams left. The Lone Catholic, McDevitt, Hershey, Octorara, and Central York. Yeah, they're one of 5. But again, they're losing Brooklyn Nace, who's one of their best players. Coach Hoke. I mean, hopefully he can, figure out how to. You don't replace a player like that. You kind of have to try to replace their production. You got to kind of replace, what they contribute to the team. But that's just really hard to do. He's a heck of a player. And then you got Muhlenberg, Coach Flowers, who coached with Rick Perez at Reading for a number of years, doing real well. Big win over Central Dauphin earlier. And then Central Dauphin, John, I think Central Dauphin went from like 9th to 3rd.
They did. They moved way up.
They were 2 behind Central Dauphin East, and East was at 7. And we don't need to go down everything. I will say this, though, and this isn't going to be an unpopular comment, but I'm going to say it. I watched, again, the Central York and Reading game, and then I watched Central Dauphin like a night or two later. It looks like Central Dauphin's going to have to do a little bit of tweaking, a little bit of improving, a little bit of whatever. And there's a lot of season left. It looked like 2 different calibers or 3 different calibers of teams. If you want to talk about Central York and Reading being one caliber, and then Central Dauphin being another.
Can you believe that? Well, no, you can believe it that Central Dauphin took Bonner to overtime.
They're good. They've played really well.
Yeah.
Central Dauphin has no bad losses. Okay. They
scored 105 points on Altoona, who just beat Harrisburg. So
4 losses, Dave. And they are to Bonner in overtime.
And Bonner's playing at a high level.
Muhlenberg, Haverford School, Interact School, really good. And then who's the 4? Harrisburg.
Yeah.
And that's when Harrisburg was healthy, and they put together a good game. So, I just a minute ago said that, Central Dauphin's going to have to kind of get things rolling a little better, I think, if they want to win this district. But they have 4 losses, and to me, they're not really bad losses.
I think this District 6, the 6A District 3 title is the most wide open out of all the districts.
Very good point.
Literally, any of those top 12 teams could win it. Districts. Reading. Reading's going to make a run.
Dave, that's why we have John on the show, man. That's a great point.
Besides his pretty face.
Yeah, I don't know. Man, as much as I sing Dave Vespignani's praises at Cumberland Valley, I'm not sure that they can. You got to win a few games against some good teams. I don't know if your Cumberland Valleys, your Central Dauphin Easts. Tell you what, though, York William Penn's in 12th right now, right? They're good.
Yeah.
Nazir Barnes. Talk about Nazir Barnes, Dave. You know more than I do about him.
I think he's a transfer. He lived in Maryland for a little bit. I hope I've got I don't want to make anyway. He's a good ball player, very good,
really good ball player.
Yeah, and they have their storied program. I call him you call him York High too, right?
I call him York William Penn usually. Yeah, or it depends what I'm in the mood to say.
Yeah, well, I'm in the mood to say York High all the time. You know that. Very good, man. I like seeing the old school teams, and you talked about that on your message board. Good to see the old, McCaskey getting better. And
they looked good yesterday.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Demir Salisbury, coach's son, sophomore, had like 40 points in a game. So yeah, keep an eye on them.
And let me mention this too, because this is important that I mention this. The Nazir Barnes from York William Penn. I had an opportunity yesterday. I did the public address announcing, just out of
at CD East.
Yeah, at CD East. I'm sorry. Thanks, John. The York High East High game, and I sat next to the scorebook keeper for York, and I said, "Man, that number 1's really good." Like halfway into the second quarter or whatever, she goes, "And you know something, Joe? He's as wonderful a young man as he is a basketball player." That's what we do this for, or a lot of what we do this for. We want to get around awesome young men and women. We want to report on awesome young men and women. So anyway, man, just keep your eye on this Nazir Barnes. He's really good.
Yeah.
So
they made the states last year, and then had a run into Upper St. Clair in the first round. And speaking of Upper St. Clair, 6A, they're going to be tough out again. And Joey, we saw them in person last year. Didn't play their best game, but give Roman Catholic a lot of credit. That was a PIAA state semifinal last year, right in your backyard.
That game was over early. What was that? That was where? Not Chambersburg.
Chambersburg, yeah.
Was that at Chambersburg? That's right.
Yeah. Me and you hanging out with my buddies.
Man.
Danny Holzer the head coach of Upper St. Clair for over 30 years. I came down with his brother, Ralph, who is been living in Delco down here about 40 years, and he's an official. I think you met him briefly, Ralph. Danny Holzer's son. So they're doing well. They're pretty loaded out there. Erie, McDowell looks pretty good. You said State College, Mifflin County will be in the mix in that sub-regional up there. And then Newcastle, keep an eye on them. They're still undefeated. And boy, you know what? I think they're 6A. So, so there it is. The Pittsburgh Tribune Review puts out rankings every week.
They just did. I think today or yesterday. It was just in the last couple of days. New ones.
Yes. So I try to share that with y'all.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Dave posted it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Dave Berman is our all things District 1, District 6, and District 12 guy. Let's start with District 6. Anything you want to talk about with District 6? We usually only talk about 6A.
6A. I mean, it's a battle for first and a bye between Mifflin County and State College. And who do you think has the tougher schedule? Well, I know Mifflin County's got Selinsgrove coming up. With smaller schools,
Dave,
Altoona.
Mifflin County has the third toughest schedule out of State College, Altoona, and Mifflin County. It's hands down.
But there are some good teams in the Keystone.
Not to the Commonwealth level.
No, not to the Commonwealth level.
You got Cedar Cliff. They got.
I don't know. We like the Keystone. I'm not. This is not anti-Keystone at all.
Right.
So anyway,
but you know what? The last couple of years, State College has had the tougher record, and both times in the District 6 championship game, it was
close games.
Close games.
Yeah.
So it's I'm looking for a battle there, and Altoona with that win. Now we will see if they can win a few more games.
Right. Okay. How about you want to do suburban Philly next, District 1? You want to?
Yeah. It's all up for grabs. Last night, everybody thinks they're going to meet in the District 1 6A championship. Plymouth White Marsh and Coatesville is down at PW, and the Colonials won that game by 15 points. So it was close till midway through the third. And they kind of pulled away. You got Garnet Valley's having a hell of a year. Penn Wood in Chester's league is 11-1, and they have a game against Chester this week. Chester, if we had a couple 6'6", 6'5" guys, we'd be right. We're still competitive. It's and 5As. It's dog eat dog. Anything can happen. Lower Merion. How about Lower Merion? A good day. They went up to State College and beat them a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they got beat by Pencrest, as I said, probably the top 5A public school team, in my opinion, in the state of Pennsylvania, public school. But in the states, they're going to have to run into Bonner and Goretti to win that PIAA state title.
Yeah, they used to not both be in 5A. I think neither of them were in 5A a handful of years ago, right?
Bonner, I think
Goretti girls were in 3A. They were winning every year in 3A.
I think
they moved 5A,
up, right? Up and down, but well, in your girls, that in girls, that's going to be tough to beat in 6A. Carroll, Archbishop Carroll, and or O'Hara, two teams you've seen over the years win state. So Newman Goretti looks unbelievable. They went all the way out to Erie. They played in that Burger King Classic. The host team, they beat Coach Aragale of Newman Goretti. They said they play like the Running Rebels, if you remember them, of UNLV. That's Erie Prep playing that way, who was previously undefeated. And Goretti, he said, you know what? We ran with him and pretty much ran him out of the gym, 107-91. Goretti wins that. So they're 5A. And you saw them last year. What'd you think? They were kind of, they were missing some parts last year, and they still won the state title against Hershey.
Yeah. Well, they have active off seasons. If you catch my drift.
Well, there's been a lot of transfers, and again, that'll be a key. We'll get to that later on, closer to the playoffs. But it would really benefit if Goretti has I don't want to see it happen. I want to see all the kids play. Harrisburg has a couple transfers, but you said they came in before their 10th, 11th grade year before.
Yeah. You know who I want to see play, Dave? I want to see the kids play who transferred within the rules. That's who I want to see play. Look, neither of you know what to say about that one. And I was supportive of these young men and women as you'll find, but man, there has to be rules, Dave. There has to be rules. unless you just want to open everything up like the Wild Wild West.
Just started a high school transfer portal, right?
Junior year. Some teams, they bring in guys late in the second semester of their sophomore year. That's legal, right?
Right. Well, they still get to play the regular season. It's not like they're getting shut out of playing basketball. Playing
basketball. You got to, okay. Whatever. Right. We'll see. I'll keep you. Already, we know Roman lost one of their 6'8" guys.
Right.
Transferred from Chichester, Sabir Lynn. So he's a junior this year. And he is not only not going, he is ineligible to play all year long.
Right. Okay. All right. So we can wrap things up here. We're about midway through the season, probably a little bit past midway. I know we're midway through the mid-pen schedule because everybody's played everybody else once, and we're heading into that second part of the season. Anything that stand out for you guys? Anything you're interested in seeing? I'm interested in this Central Dauphin versus East game. I really am. Just because it's an inter-district game, inter-school district game. East is playing better. East they haven't been 7-4 since 2019-2020 season, which they finished 14-8 that year. So it's been 6 years since East started 7-4, and they kind of went toe to toe with Central Dauphin. If you look at the final, you're going to tell me I'm wrong or crazy, but I think CD ended up beating them by like 20 or so. But it was close for a long, long time. And then
I'm going to try to get to that game, Joe, Tuesday. That year you're talking about CD East having over 500 and the record you just shared. I think they still missed the playoffs, didn't they? Do you know the last time they made the playoffs?
I'm pretty sure they missed the playoffs that year.
Yeah, they missed it like really, really close. Like they were one down. Like one.
I don't know the last time they qualified for the district play. Yeah, because their last games of the season were against Mifflin County. It looked like they added some games on, or maybe they were just district. Yeah, Mifflin County was in the Commonwealth back then, right, Dave? But anyway, that's a great point, John. Yeah, they were shut out of the playoffs that year.
Yeah, so it'd be a great accomplishment for them to make the district playoffs this year.
Maybe you can be our remote guy at East High that night, John.
There you go.
What happened to Carlisle this year?
Well, they lost their best player.
Yeah,
I don't remember his name.
Guy.
In the 6'8", John, do you remember his name? I mean,
I can't remember. Oh, the shooting guard.
Yeah, no, this guy's 6'8".
Oh,
that guy.
He was young. Yeah, did he transfer?
Tyler Royal.
That's it.
Yeah, he was one of our big 60 showcase all-stars. Got a great picture with Tyler.
He gave Central Dauphin fits last year.
One of the private schools down here. And also Parker Smith too, right?
That's what I was talking about, Parker Smith. But they had that. They lost him to. Where did he go, Joe?
A prep school.
Okay.
He prep school Tyler went to, yeah.
I get my prep schools confused.
Yeah. Well, it's a non-PIAA school also.
Right.
But Carlisle always has a special place in my heart. I was on the radio there from 85 to 89, the Hotchie Dog Hamilton House, the Hotchie Dog House.
What a great gig that was for you.
That was, announced. Well, it was tough because I had to announce a couple Chester State semifinal games live on the radio. And you're listening to, Carlisle filming her basketball. And people in Carlisle said, "Oh, Berman, you can tell you wanted Chester to win."
Oh, wow.
The good old radio days. But
how do you think I feel? I went to Central Dauphin. Just about every one of our sponsors are based right in Central Dauphin area. Ted's Bar and Grill, Hoffman Ford. These are Central Dauphin people. I get accused all the time. And then, guys, if I like what I said earlier about I don't know if Central Dauphin has what it takes to beat Central York and Reading and teams like, now I'm going to hear from the Central Dauphin. Hey, I heard what you were saying the other night about Central Dauphin. You're discounting them. You're not giving them enough. So I can't win with that stuff. And, it's not all about money here because it's these sponsors, we don't, that's not, they're important to us, but I still like to cover all the kids from all the schools, but we're kind of based right there in CD. So I understand what you went through there is what I'm saying.
I just must say the old days of going up there. Remember the old Phil Scrignoli's Nautilus?
Nautilus experience. And then
he had days, John. He went out.
And then he had I think that place was called the Meltdown.
Was it? That was a bouncer. I was a bouncer at the old RWDs.
Yeah, that was the
John
real
Flash.
That's
deal
a
there.
rough place.
That was the real deal there, man.
A lot of. I remember Brian Dean coming in and Gary
man.
Martin and all these guys.
Yeah, man. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So
it
Dave
was.
Berman, the voice of Delco, thank you for joining us. John Velios, as always, thank you for joining us. And we missed out on Coach Rick Perez, Reading first year Reading coach Rick Perez, 13th year overall.
He's back.
So we'll have him. We'll put him in the cycle here, the rotation.
Who we got next week?
Next week we have John Allen. This is clockwise from Coach Perez. So now it'll be clockwise from Coach Allen. Coatesville head coach John Allen. Excited for that.
He's a triple and he'll talk your ears off.
So now we just might do clockwise from lower left and just start with John Allen and go Kerry Glover, Jason Fisher, and Rick Perez. So excited for all, man. We're blessed.
Well, it makes my job easier when you have these District 1 Southeastern PA guys. You can ask them what they think about what's going on down here.
We're open-minded, man. We love bringing coaches in from all over,
Yeah, I can't wait. Before you know it's going to be high school football season.
Yep. So anyway, just an update for those who are Philadelphia 13, San Francisco 10. The Eagles have the ball 2nd and 12 at the San Francisco 48. So maybe 10 yards, 15 yards, at least getting field goal range. So
I'd
John,
like to see Barkley start going off to get that offensive line going. So
John, thank you. Dave, thank you.
All right,
and
guys.
We'll talk to you during the week sometime. Thanks everybody for. I'm sure viewership was probably down this week with the Eagles on, but whoever sat in and watched this, we really appreciate it. Have a great Sunday evening, everyone.